through storms, unshaken, unbowed. Through trials and verdicts, still standing proud. A titan in the tempest, against the raging crowd. He's got a vision for the future, gonna shout it aloud. Changing the wind, it's coming fast. A new foundation built to last. Cryptocurrencies the key, make the big switch. Power to the people, time to teach the rich. Legal battles can't hold him, he's moving on. With plans so bold, from dusk till dawn. He's rewriting the rules, a new dawn's day. From the hands of the few to the people's way. Say goodbye to all chains, embrace the new. A financial revolution, fair and true. For the workers, the dreamers, side by side. In Trump's new era, let freedom rise. Changing the wind.
Welcome, everyone, to the Crazy Kryptonaut. I am Zester, and I hope everyone is having an amazing start to the beginning of their week. And yes, I saw some very good questions, and I know that everyone is curious about what's going on in regards to Pops, the original Mark Z. And I do have a little sneak peek photo that I will be showing for everyone, but otherwise, the official update will be at 7 p.m. on the original Mark Z. I know at this point in time that he's done with his treatments, but I have not gotten a chance to talk with him. All I know is that he's doing fine. And so we'll have more of an update then. Other than that, we're going to go ahead and jump into the hellos and everything else because we've got some interesting news for today. And so absolutely, Gary7 coming in at number 1. Thank you so much, Gary. And yes, Gary7 says, at Crazy Kryptonaut, I bet you are busy doing this show and helping your dad. How is your dad? He is doing well. He's a little tired at this point, but he is doing particularly well. And so no worries on that front. And I do have a lot of questions about whether anyone knows what the thumbnail is about. I thought that would be a funny one. To me, it's a very clever joke, but it is regional. It is regional. To my knowledge, a snipe hunt, which is it's a joke in the South, that you would joke with people that are from the city, and you'd say, hey, this weekend, me and the buddies, we're going to go on a snipe hunt. And you would trick people from the city into thinking that they were going on some kind of exciting adventure. And so that's where it comes from. There's a whole backstory around it and all the different tricks and such that you tell people. But to me, it seems like the Democratic Party is on a perpetual snipe hunt. They get together and they make up some kind of mythical enemy in order to chase after. And then they go running after it as if, for some reason, it's the most important thing in the world. Rather than focusing on reality, rather than focusing on anything that's realistic, they're far more interested in chasing after mythical or made-up entities. And so I thought that one might be clever. I enjoy the thumbnail, if anything. I think it's a hilarious picture. And so for those that are curious on that one, because I did put that question out in the chat, if anyone did understand the thumbnail, I bet folks had a pretty good idea of it, but it was directly based around the fact that the Democratic Party is busy chasing make-believe and a regular joke in the South when somebody would show up from the city or from the North or anywhere else is we'd say, hey, we're going to go on a snipe hunt this weekend. You want to come with us? They hide in the trees. And so we're going to need lights and everything else. It was always a maybe not the best joke, but we always thought it was hilarious. We always thought it was hilarious. And so for those that were curious on it, I'd be happy to hear if anyone else has any stories that would be similar. And so what's up, Crazy Chester? Welcome, welcome. And Kukla, thank you so much for everything you do as always. And absolutely, I'm curious what folks have to say about the thumbnail. And now would be the perfect time, before I even scroll down to it, to mention that anything and everything that is talked about or said by myself or any guest on the Crazy Cryptonaut channel should be viewed as entertainment and educational only. In no way, in no form or fashion should it be viewed as professional, legal, or financial advice. Please do consult with a financial or legal professional before making any major long-term decisions. I don't know why that for some reason is necessary, but so saith the mighty overlords that are Google and Alphabet. And so what are we as mere peasants in this system to do besides just go ahead and acquiesce? And so thank you, Kukla, as always, for making certain that I say that. And now, with all of that mentioned, we can continue through without any worries. And so welcome, Flying Squirrel 89 and Navy Dave. I'm going ahead and assuming it's Navy Dave. Navy D says, finally made it to a live. Well, I guess not yet, but soon, because you were in the waiting room. No, welcome, Navy. You are extremely appreciated here, and I'm glad that you get to make it for a live. Welcome, Mile High Trish. I really enjoyed our option or our opportunity to talk on this previous Saturday, and the ability to get to meet. It was a absolutely great time. And so thank you so much, not only for being here and viewing the Crazy Cryptonaut and the original Mark Z, but also for carving out a little of your time on Saturday to talk about ID protection and being able to protect ourselves in regards to the modern digital landscape. It's scary, but it's important. And thank you so much for making it, Trish. It was awesome to get to meet you, and I think we'll get to talk more. Welcome, Liberty. Liberty says, hi, everyone. Kukla, I pray you are staying safe there. That is an important one, guys. Kukla is in Chicago, and that is where the Democratic National Convention is being held this week. It's an insane place, insane people. And so I'm very glad personally, and I know Pops and everyone else in regards to the community is very happy to know that Kukla is taking the week off from work in order to stay out of downtown Chicago. Very happy to know that's happening, because I would be worried. All right, though, let's catch up, guys, because I do need to kind of roll through the stream this evening, and my apologies for that, but ultimately we're going to focus on the news because we have some really important crypto news to go through, and then I'm going to go start getting ready for the 7 p.m. on the original Mark Z. And so we're going to hit the important news after we do our hellos and after I answer any questions that anyone provides in the chat, and then I'm going to be running off, and everybody's going to have another opportunity to chat at 7 p.m. with myself, and I believe Lucas Beach will be joining later on in the stream this evening. But Liberty USA 1, question for the community. Are we able to send any questions to Zester yet? In regards to that question, Liberty, you're about to have an email that you can send your questions to. The Discord is gone because of general security related issues in terms of folks interacting with other people on Discord. And so I want to make certain that we are as safe as possible. So it is gone, but we will have an email coming out this week, Liberty, where you're able to send things directly to me. But in this situation, and this is something that I would really like people to make certain and keep in mind, is that when I'm live, these type of questions are great, Because your second question is, if not, anyone here have any experience with encrypted crypto as a wallet? Liberty, USA 1. What I would say is I've never heard of it in my life. And if there is any sector of our world where it is more important to go with the big names than crypto, I'm not aware of it. Liberty, I would highly, highly, highly suggest utilize MetaMask. If you're going to use a software wallet, use MetaMask. If you are going towards a hardware wallet solution, utilize a Ledger hardware wallet. It's a $60 purchase that will save you thousands of dollars being stolen in the future. It's worth it, and it lasts for a lifetime. And so, Liberty, I'm not certain about encrypted crypto. It may be a great wallet. It may be. I would just go ahead, though, and say, why would we try some other option when we know the wallets that are safe? It's a recreating the wheel type situation. The wheel already works. Why are we trying to rebuild it? And so, Liberty, thank you so much for being here. And you will have an email very soon. But I would highly suggest use MetaMask, use Coinbase, use a hardware wallet. It doesn't have to be Ledger. It doesn't need to be when it comes to a hardware wallet. Just use a hardware wallet. That's all that's important. The rest of it is really tomato, tomato, potato, potato. It's the same thing, different company. The vast majority of them utilize the exact same technology. I just always recommend Ledger because that's what I use. And that makes it a lot easier to answer questions when people are having problems. And so maybe that's some degree of selfishness on my part because it does make it infinitely easier to answer people's questions when they're trying to set it up. When I'm like, yeah, I've already done this 100 times. I got you. But otherwise, the vast majority of other options, they do the same thing. The most important part of a hardware wallet is that it is disconnected from the web. You want your mnemonic phrase, your passphrase that actually really contains your access to your crypto to be held offline. If that hardware wallet achieves that goal, do it. Encrypted crypto, I bet, is either a software wallet or an exchange, in which case, Liberty, the answer is your crypto ain't safe. Your crypto is not safe at this point in time, but hopefully it's not an exchange that's trying to rob you. It's just one of the thousands of different options you can go out there and use. I would highly recommend getting it moved over to something else. But moving forward, Linda Hearn, hi from Missouri. Howdy, Linda Hearn. Thank you so much for being here. And I know that you were looking forward to being able to jump in to one of the security calls on a Saturday. And so I'll make certain next time that the email includes the correct time because you fell into a category there that did not get the correct information. My apologies. Linda, you did not have all the necessary details on that one, but I will be doing that again this coming Saturday, and I will make certain, absolutely, that you have got the proper link and time. Well, welcome, Speed Racer. Hope you're having a great one. And Weezer. Oh, and Rain Man and Hot Rod Tilly. I really like your name, Hot Rod Tilly. I don't know. It's just fun to say. It's just fun to say, if anything. Liberty USA 1. I am praying my crypto is not in nefarious hands. And this would be in reference to encrypted crypto, the wallet. I would not panic ahead of time, Liberty. I would go through and I'd check out and make certain that you're able to remove your crypto from the exchange. That's always one of the best indicators. If you ever have a service that you're sketchy about and you're a little bit worried, the best way to approach that is to put a very, very small amount of crypto or money into it and then see if you're allowed to withdraw. If you are, that tends to be a green flag. That's a very, very rudimentary testing method, but ultimately it's worth the time when you're looking at something that you're entirely new to. Try with a little bit. If a little bit works, a little bit more. If a little bit more works, you're probably operating with some folks that are doing things the right way. All right, though, guys. I'm trying to catch up now. Yeah, Liberty. Trish, I'm attempting to get it returned to my Uphold account so I can move it to a ledger just purchased. They want all kind of ID before they will send it. Liberty, I'd start to get worried. I'd start to get worried based off of the information that I've gotten so far. I assume as I continue to scroll down, I'm probably going to get more updates on that one. And so at this point, I'd be a little bit worried about giving them all your information. Welcome, NM Hiker, saying, Hola, finally make a live. Cannot chat much today. Canning and roasting green chili. Oh, nice, NM Hiker. I was hoping you were going to say green beans. That way I could ask if you would send one to my father to help him get healthy when he gets back in a couple days. I know he'd appreciate that. Welcome, musical lady, and Richard Gregory. And I'm going to kind of roll through a little bit here kind of quickly. Rain Man, I went snipe hunting in college. Not funny. Maybe they didn't do it right. Maybe they didn't do it right. And yes, I guess it's not fun for everyone that's not in on the joke in regards to that. I guess it's not fun. Linda Hearn, that's really an old trick. We did that back in the 50s. And similar to in the north, that we'd go looking for snow snakes in winter. It's too funny. I'm glad to hear that is not just a little trick that Southerners thought was funny. I'm glad to hear that it's a universal. That is. All right, though, guys, I don't want to have to roll through too quickly, but ultimately we've got to get to our news today because we do have some really interesting articles. And I do have on the famous Henrietta t-shirt. Thank you, Kukla, so much for sending it and getting it made. It is much appreciated. Oh, Neil Brooks says, howdy, Zester from 76 degree Cram, North Carolina. 76 degrees, Neil. Man, that must be somewhat pleasant. That's a pretty good temperature for August in North Carolina. So I hope you're enjoying it, and thank you so much for being here. Deborah Muse Wolf, supporting Senator Wendy Rogers. She sent me the invite. The invite to what there, Deborah? Or just to vote, or she sent you information regarding her campaign. That's awesome. I'll have to learn a little bit about Wendy Rogers. But that's awesome, Deborah. All right. I'm rolling through. Yeah. Liberty. Zester, it was before I learned of you. It was recommended by Dr. Kia Pruitt. Stupid me. Don't think about it that way, Liberty. There's a lot of folks out there, and there's a lot of misinformation. It's not a matter of picking the right one. It's the fact that we're being sold a lot of bad bills of goods, and that's probably what she was sold. But and that you have recently purchased a ledger. I'm glad to hear that, Liberty. I'm extremely glad to hear that. That's the important thing. Where you buy your crypto, it can be dangerous. But ultimately, if you pick any of the major options and you go through and you make your purchase, the most important part is just getting it off of those exchanges and getting it into self-custody where you truly own it. When you buy crypto on an exchange, it says it's your crypto. That's what it says. But in all honesty, it's not. Not until you remove it from the exchange. And so, Liberty, I think you're going to be off on the right steps and in the right direction. And I wouldn't worry about it too much, at least in terms of if it's safe once it gets there. In regards to that crypto exchange, I will go through and try to do some more research, but ultimately, I'm not going to have an answer for days because of my work schedule. And so I would not want you to sit around and continue to use that exchange. All I would say is don't put any more money in. Try to get your money out. Any exchange that makes it difficult to remove your dollars is pretty much telling you what they are. And so if you're having a hard time ever on a crypto exchange that is not one of the big names, some random one, because I've heard so many names, there's thousands of them out there. I cannot be aware of all of the different thousands. And so a lot of times I'll hear it. I'll be like, all right, I'll look it up. And all it takes is one Google search. And I go, yeah, that's not a real exchange. That's not a real wallet. Sometimes it's just a very, very small company. And so a lot of people don't know about it. But this is one of the situations where I would just highly recommend stick to what works. What works are the big wallets. Yes. Are they potentially collecting information? Probably. Everything is. But if you take your money and you move it to a wallet that only you own, you're safe. And so my recommendation, absolutely open to other thoughts on the entire process, but I would just go with easy. Easy sometimes is just the right answer. Crazy Chester, if we are staking some of our crypto, this is a great question, actually, Crazy. Will it still be staked even if we move it to Ledger? Crazy Chester. And so in the case of you wanting to stake cryptocurrency towards maybe a liquidity pool or a lending protocol, whatever it may be, you want to make certain that you actually lend that crypto from the wallet that you want to be paid in. There are ways around it, but ultimately that's the easiest way to do it. And so if you were wanting to use your Ledger wallet, your Ledger hardware wallet, and you wanted to stake crypto from it, you would want to take the crypto from whatever exchange you bought it, move it to your Ledger hardware wallet, and then you would want to go through and stake it. That is going to ensure that all of those returns are coming back to your hardware wallet, whether it's automatic or you have to go through and claim them. Either way, all returns are coming back to your hardware wallet and they're not moving through centralized exchanges. If you're staking on Coinbase, in that situation, it has to stay on Coinbase. You can't get off. Rainman79424 at Crazy Cryptonaut. Why should I purchase crypto on Coinbase, then have to move it to my Ledger rather than just buying right from Ledger? That is an awesome question, Rainman. And the reason that I suggest to people that they do it that way is because of the fees. If you were to go in and decide that you wanted to make a purchase from your Ledger, directly through any of the different services that you're allowed to download onto your device, they're going to charge you anywhere between 3 and 10% on making the actual purchase. And so, Rainman, the reason I tell people to use Coinbase is because it will be essentially somewhere around 0.1% that you'll end up paying in order to go through the whole process. And so we're talking about a fee that is anywhere between 30 and 100 times more expensive when you go through one of those different services on the Ledger hardware wallet. And the reason is because all of those services go through credit and debit cards. They have huge fees already, just on account of high risk industries and all that business mumbo jumbo. But also, they just jack up the price because they know they're providing you ease of access. And so that's the only reason I suggest it. Ultimately, if you're willing to pay the fee, pay the fee. It's real easy. You can buy directly through the applications on Ledger Live, on your Ledger hardware device, and you don't have to move it. I'm just kind of a stickler when it comes to overpaying for things. And so I try to recommend to everyone that we go through the cheapest option that is also safe in order to maximize our investments, in all honesty. Steve Thornton. Zester, I had my ledger stored in a safe for about 6 months. When I got it out to transfer some crypto, the device had a critical battery warning. Keep an eye on your battery on the ledger. Steve, that one's a really interesting one. And I would have a question before I say anything. Was it a Ledger X? Was it a hardware wallet that has a battery? Because I never recommend a Ledger or any hardware wallet that has a battery in it. The reason being is because I don't want it talking unless I'm the one talking to it. And so, for example, Steve, like when it comes to, man, here it is. It's somewhere on my desk. It's hiding underneath the monitor. Like when it comes to my Nano S Pluses, there is no battery. And so there's no battery inside of the device. It's impossible to utilize this device unless it is plugged in. It's impossible. I mean, flat out, no electricity, it can't be done. And so I really, really like that. I know that a battery and the ability to utilize it without having to plug it in is convenient. But ultimately, I appreciate the fact that it's impossible. If this device is not plugged in, no crypto can leave it. And so I can literally sit there with the utmost confidence and say that I can't make it up to the camera with my cord to plug it in, but ultimately plugged in, I'm open to someone messing with me. Unplug it, game's over. No one has access to my crypto besides me. And so I'm an old soul, Steve. I'm a very, very old soul. In that regard, I always look towards having things that are as simplistic as possible. All right. Yeah, Kukla says her pops will not eat green beans. I tried. Yeah, he will not. That is for certain. Absolutely. All right, though, guys. I am trying to catch up. We do need to jump into a few of these news articles. Guys, there are some important ones, and there's a really, really exciting one that I guess is not big news, but I think everyone will enjoy. And so I'm going to go ahead. Sorry, guys. I'm going to keep coming back and make certain that I run through some of these questions, but I have got to get in to a bit of these different articles because we do have some very exciting information to share. And so, of course, as always, we start with just a general checkup on where the markets are at. Bitcoin sitting at 59,000. As I've said, and as we've talked about many times in the past, we are sitting at a point in time where it is just a constant battle with 60K. We seem to be incapable of getting out of the $55,000 to $60,000 range with our Bitcoin, but it's definitely trending more towards the 60K. There's more buy pressure than there is sell pressure. There's just not enough buy pressure to get us past that 60,000 mark. What did occur today is we have seen XRP go on I wouldn't say an absolute tear, but XRP is leading the pack. XRP up 4.1% on the day, while we see Bitcoin down 1.1% in the past 24 hours. XRP has been teasing around 60 cents today, almost made it up to 61. A lot of this is in just direct regards to the fact that Ripple has gotten through their SEC cases. And while the $125 million fine that Ripple received on account of that SEC case seems like an insane amount of money, because, it damn is. That's an insane amount of money. But in regards to what expectations were for what Ripple was going to have to pay, it's extremely low. And it absolutely is something where Ripple should not have to actually make this payment in any form or fashion. And I expect them to fight the SEC for a very long time in regards to the amount of money they end up handing over. but that's viewed as very, very positive news. And when you take that in conjunction with the fact that XRP is actually planning on the XRP ledger going through more test updates for their release of RLUSD, that is the XRP stablecoin pegged to the US dollar. And so with that coming up in the next couple of days, this is honestly just a big push, kind of speculative in regards to the price of XRP, that with positive news coming about the stablecoin, things are going to go well. All right, though, before we jump into the first article, I did see a question or two. Steve Thornton, I have both, but I loaded in the X. Steve, there's nothing wrong with the Ledger Nano X. There's nothing wrong with it at all. And so you also have another option there, Steve. When you wrote down your 24 words for your Nano X, when you did that, you can take those 24 words and you can actually load them in to any other hardware wallet. And that wallet that's currently sitting on that X with a bad battery will just appear there. Bam. And so if you were to take the 24 words you used to set up that Nano X, and you were to then take those words and plug them in while you were setting up a Nano S Plus or a Nano S or any other hardware wallet, that wallet that's currently sitting on the X with the battery issue would just appear there. That's a very important thing, is that crypto is not actually on the device. It's not on your hardware wallet. Your hardware wallet is a key. It's a key. It is no different than the keys on your keychain. The only difference is this key allows you access to your cryptocurrency. This key lets you not, freeze your butt off in the middle of winter because you don't have the key to the house or the key to the car. They're both access to a specific location. In the same way that a key can get you into a car or into your house, this gets you access to the blockchain, specifically access to your wallet on the blockchain. And that's always a very, very difficult concept to explain, in that there is no crypto on this. There is nothing on this besides a key, a very important key, and from my perspective, a very important key. Yes, there are occasionally, but all it takes is a simple restart and you're good to go on that one, Gary. All you got to do is make certain that you never lose those 24 words you write down, and you're always good to go. Welcome, Captain Spiffy. And so let's get into our first article here, because I do want to go ahead and talk on that one. Colorado church has decided to tokenize a $2.5 million chapel. This is something that we have talked about in the past in regards to the ability with blockchain to actually fractionalize ownership. And when I say that term, it's a big ass word and it sounds scary, but what it really means is fraction. We're going to split it up. And so what a Colorado church has done is they've offered the ability for parishioners or for anyone else to actually own a portion of the church. And so they put out a token, and each token is essentially a share of ownership over said church. And you buy as many tokens as you want, and then you own that percentage of the church. And so this is something where we had talked about things similar to this. I thought this was a very, very unique application of blockchain technology, because typically you hear it being utilized for fancy goods. You hear it being utilized for someone buying one portion of some fancy painting by some French guy back in the 1700s that any normal human being on a regular everyday basis is like, who cares? That's what you normally hear about this technology being used for. But now we're seeing it be applied to churches. A church where you would be capable of funding it by owning a specific amount of tokens that it has minted. It's a very, very novel application. Very, very novel application. Petrichor Ranch, in this situation, Petrichor says, would owning a fraction of the church open you up to paying a fraction of the cost to run it? In this case, the deal that they actually put into place would not. And so for this situation, a network of affiliated church groups called the Colorado House of Prayer has tokenized its main chapel in an effort to purchase the $2.5 million building necessary for them to start preaching. And so this is genuinely something where people are essentially fundraising around it. They're utilizing cryptocurrency to fundraise in order to purchase the building. According to a report from Forbes, Bush's congregation and other church groups had been renting the building from its owner, a local business person who also owns a car dealership. Now, the 11,457 square foot building called Old Stone Church, due to its stone exterior, I appreciate that explanation, was purchased for $2.2 million. And so they are trying to raise $2.5 million in order to purchase it from him. And Bush claims, I heard the Lord say, tokenize the building. Bush told Forbes, later adding that he had been praying for this for years and that God had told him to go get my house. And so this is just an entirely different perspective and community that is being brought in to cryptocurrency and is being shown the power of the ability to utilize fractionalization, the ability to utilize smart contracts, and be able to do things that are not on the general expectation list of what crypto is used for. And so Bush and the group created Stonecoin, a digital asset used to raise money for the purchase of Old Stone Church. In the future, the tokens board, which includes Bush and other religious leaders, as well as the mayor of a nearby town, plan to open up token sales to non-parishioners. While this could potentially put the digital asset ownership at risk of an outside takeover, Bush doesn't appear to be too concerned about it. When presented with the notion that, for example, Satanists could end up making a run on the church's tokens, Bush quipped that he'd be grateful. Let's introduce them to Jesus. And so thought that was something everyone would be somewhat intrigued by as an application for crypto technology. And now we are going to jump in to our next one before we do go ahead and plan on ending the stream fairly early so that I can go get in place for the original Mark Z in a matter of 1 hour and 22 minutes. And so Nixon ended the gold standard 53 years ago today. Now, this article is from the 15th, so it is not actually today anymore. WTF happened in 1971. This is a very, very interesting one, in my opinion, in regards to just some of the general information that it presents. Oh, Kukla, don't worry. I'll Kukla, make sure you eat. Zester, make sure you eat. Man, where are the cookies? Kukla, where are the cookies? No, I will be fine. I'll make certain to find some time to get something. But in regards to the Nixon shock. And so August 15th, 2024 marks the 53rd anniversary of the Nixon shock. The day that United States President Richard Nixon, Tricky Dick, eliminated the gold standard for the US dollar. At the time, Nixon claimed that taking the dollar off the gold standard was temporary and would stabilize the dollar. Now, general pop quiz here. Did that work out? Because I think all of us already know the answer. But of course, the statistics make it even more apparent. And so, when we look at the time since Nixon made that decision, Nixon promised this action would stabilize the dollar. Since that day, the US dollar has lost 98.5% of its gold value. And the article writer continues on with, this is why we Bitcoin. Because of decisions like this. Ultimately, our country took a major downturn in 1971, unfortunately. Compliments of Tricky Dick, who did claim at the time, and I don't disbelieve him, that he did not plan on it being a permanent change. But ultimately, it's become a permanent change. And so ever since then, we are now able to look through a history, hindsight 2020, that makes it incredibly apparent that the decision to take us off of the gold standard was not just a poor decision, it was a catastrophically devastating position for him to make and for him to take in regards to an average everyday American. It worked out amazing for the rich. Those who already had enough, had everything they needed, they destroyed in the post-gold system. Those who were actually providing genuine value to society, people that actually have jobs and actually work, which in all honesty, when we look at the elites of today in regards to what they do, they don't do shit. They produce nothing. They merely continue to collect dollars based off of the fiat system we created, or well, not if we created. I wasn't alive in 1970. That was allowed to occur in 1971 when we allowed for the shift away from the gold standard. Now, and as we look back in time, before 1971, productivity gains were passed down to workers in the form of higher wages. After the gold standard was ended, the majority of productivity gains went into the hands of shareholders, causing the standard of living of workers in the United States to stagnate. I don't need to tell anybody about this one. Everybody here is more than well aware. And when we look at any of the different charts in relation to it, as we see from 1972, and we look at compensation for workers, we see an entire stagnation. Whereas prior, from 1948 to 1972, we see that productivity and compensation are directly in line. After it, productivity has skyrocketed, aka they want you to work a heck of a lot more than you were in the past, while compensation for the work you're providing has stagnated entirely. All of this can be tied directly to the removal of a gold backing on the United States currency. Now, and ever since then, we live in a world of modern monetary policy, which is essentially another clever way of saying we're going to screw everybody that actually has a job. That is modern monetary policy. I know that they'll have a lot of other terms, and there's an entire class devoted to explaining what it is. But in all honesty, I can save you time on having to take the class and just go ahead and explain it in full in one sentence. It's screw workers. Screw workers. That's modern monetary policy. If you have a job, screw you. If you don't have a job because you already have a bunch of money and you're invested in other people's work, it's going to go great. It's going to go great. It is the way it is, I suppose. It's not right, but it's a fact. And unfortunately, it continues to influence our society today. And that's why it is so important that we look towards a new financial system coming in the near future, where we are not living in a world where every American is infinitely robbed over and over again. And so this article is extremely interesting. It absolutely contrasts the back and forth between what Nixon wanted to achieve and what ended up happening. Because when you come down and you look at Nixon's words and you see what he was trying to do with this, you would see that he 100% knew. 100% knew. Matter of fact, right here, Nixon claimed that he was against inflation and was determined to stop it. Inflation robs every American, every one of you, Nixon stated. The 20 million who are retired and living on fixed incomes, they are particularly hard hit. It's true. Nixon understood what he was doing, but ultimately he never got the opportunity to take it back. If anybody wants to get conspiratorial at this point in time, I would understand, because he did right after all of this. Well, needless to say, we've all heard of a lot of different gates, and Watergate being the one that the whole trend started with. And so it definitely leads me to a lot of questions, because Nixon did not intend to keep the US dollar off the gold standard. At least that's not what he said publicly. What he had in his heart, who knows? But was that not another situation of potentially those in power, the deep state, the cabal, whatever term we want to toss at them, making the decision to ensure that the American people do not have what they need? And so right after Nixon went through and removed the gold standard, well, anybody and everybody can read a history book. There was no more Nixon as president. Maybe there's a direct correlation here. Maybe there's something more to the whole story. I'm not going to put my tinfoil hat on yet. I'll save that for Wednesday on Whiskey and Wisdom. But it seems like a tinfoil hat style situation when you start to really consider what was going on in regards to American monetary policy and foreign policy at that point in time that Nixon was in office. And now you look at the repercussions of that decision up to the future. I mean, would anybody have agreed if they had known that every single American was going to lose 98.5% of the value of their dollar from 1971 to today? Nobody would have. Nobody would have. And so I'm no fan of Tricky Dick. Don't trust him. Maybe it's something about the name, but ultimately there's more to that story than just what is shared. And so from this point onward, I'm going to go ahead and bid everyone a little bit early adieu. But if anyone has any questions, now would be a great time for it. I'm going to go ahead and get ready for the next stream up at Pops's house. And I'm going to call him immediately to get my update on how he's feeling and also what he's heard from his contacts so that I can share that on the 7 p.m. stream. And so any questions that are out there, now would absolutely be the time. And we are, so Deborah knows, I know she signed off already, but Deborah asked if there was going to be the Mushroom and Monday. There will be Mushroom and Monday. I talked to Lucas just a little while earlier, and he's very excited for it. We're going to have a little bit of fun today. When the cat's away, the mice will play, as they say. And so we're going to have a bit of a good time on our Monday evening. Speed Racers, Esther, will you be doing Whiskey and Wisdom this week? I absolutely will be doing Whiskey and Wisdom this week. And so I don't know if Pops will be there. He may be there. But we're going to make certain that he doesn't go adding any extra anything into the situation while he's recovering. And so we'll see how he's feeling. And then we'll make a decision on whether it's just going to be me and Mike, and maybe I'll get Andy or someone to join, or whether it's going to be the whole crew this Wednesday. Oh, yeah. My helper is a joke back here. Patricia Lee says, thank you, Zester. You're doing awesome. Your helper slept through work again. Sending love to you, Zach, Tina, and Tino. Yeah, my helper is useless. I even gave her a stuffed animal, and she still won't do anything. I thought that would, maybe if she had a little baby to hang out with, she might get a little bit more, active. But nah, that is Tina. That is Tina Kukla, and she is not about it. Not about it. She wants to be here, but she doesn't want to participate in the slightest. Oh, yeah. Make sure, Speed Racer, make sure you stock up on your beer. Don't want another calamity like last week. Yeah. The trying the random different types from around the island did not work out that way. Did not work out that well. There were a few that were good, and most of them were not. Now I know a bit better, though. Liberty, many thanks to you, Hester, for your responses. All the best to Pops. He will do great. And Liberty works in the medical field. Thank you so much, Liberty. I'm very, very, very confident with everything going on in regards to it, but still there's always the need for those prayers to go out, and there's always the hope that it will end up being infinitely more beneficial than just being a stop to the degradation of his body. And so I'm hoping for optimistically hoping for some very, very large results, but ultimately anything that helps out is absolutely worth everything necessary to make it happen. All right, though, everybody, I am going to run off, and I am sorry, Emma. I see that you said that you asked a question a little while back. I'm trying to find it real quick. Oh, there it is. Emma Peterson, new here. Which video will show me the steps to buying XRP safely so you don't have to repeat yourself for a newbie? No problem at all, Emma. And as a matter of fact, we have a few different videos on that one. And so in particular, it actually goes straight to here. And that link, Emma, will take you to my video on buying on Uphold XRP. And so I would highly recommend, in all honesty, Emma, use Coinbase. Coinbase does not require a video to utilize. It is a hands-through process where they hold your hand from start to finish. I would highly recommend using Coinbase to make the purchase of XRP, and then you'll be able to use any of the various videos on the channel in order to remove the XRP from Coinbase and take it to the wallet you want. That would be my recommendation. But of course, Uphold is another option, and many, many, many people in the community have used Uphold. It is safe. It is a safe service to use. They just overcharge, and I'm a stickler. And so, with all that said, thank you guys all so much, and I will see you again in, well, an hour and 8 minutes. See you guys.